My neighbor, M40s, connected to my M32 Wi-Fi network and saw my adult videos on a network share. Now he thinks I'm a weirdo Chomo. A few months ago, my neighbor asked for my Wi-Fi password when his cable modem was on the fritz. I gave it to him and quickly forgot about it. About 2 weeks ago, I plugged an external HDD into my router so I could watch a movie on my TV. HDD had music, videos, and corn on it. For the last week, my neighbor has been cold to me, hasn't said hello when we see each other outside, won't let his kids play with my dogs. So I ask him, what's up? He went off on me. Tells me it's because I'm a pervert, he thinks I'm a chill molester, and he doesn't want me near his family. I live next to this guy. We had great rapport before. Mowed each other's lawns. His kids would take my dogs for walks when I had to work late, and I had dinner with his family either at my house or there's 2 to 3 times a month. We live in Texas, and my neighbor is Catholic. He goes to church every week and has 3 daughters between the ages of 8 and 13. I can only imagine how much stress it would be to have 3 daughters to look after. I have a much younger sister. I get that he wants to look out for his family, but corn is just corn. While I wouldn't want my sister doing it, it's still fun to watch. I don't consider the corn that was on there to be anything extreme. I basically downloaded a bunch of amateur allure videos and some generic mainstream corn videos where the girls are 18-20-ish. There was one video, ironically downloaded by my ex-girlfriend, that was a little light bondage. Basically just a girl getting fudged while she was tied to a bed. I'm not sure what all he saw. I also had a handful of pictures from an ex-girlfriend who was in her late 20s on there. I wasn't in the pictures, and her face wasn't really in any of them. The pictures were tame. No action shots, just her topless and a few shots of her on all fours. We recently broke up, but I'm not sure she was around the neighborhood enough for him to recognize the pictures of her. Any suggestions for ways to fix this? I gotta live next to the guy. Not willing to sell my house over this. I'm a single guy in a neighborhood full of families. It would suck if his family started spreading rumors. I'm more worried about people who don't say anything. We're a close cul-de-sac. Happy hours and BBQs with a bunch of families are common. I know a lot of the stay-at-home moms gossip like schoolgirls. TLDR, neighbor saw my corn drive. Now he's acting really weird. Looking for advice on how to fix things, or at least insulate myself from hurtful rumors. Edit. His kids only have iPhones and iPads. The only way they would have seen the drive is if they were using his office computer. I can see exposing them to corn would be bad. I don't think that happened. Relevant comments. Commenter. The only thing I can think to do would be to at least talk to him again about the situation after letting him cool down a bit, validating his feelings about the matter a bit so that he might see a bit of nuance to the situation when you present your side of it. Your side would simply be that the women in these videos were engaging in consensual adult sex and, for better or worse, enjoying some more non-traditional methods of intercourse. You accept that he won't think of you as he did in the past, but you at least want to be clear that you're only looking at stuff that's completely legal and professionally made, i.e. he may worry you're a peeping Tom. So it might help to make clear that the participants of these videos knew they were on camera. I mean, the relationship between you and his family is probably done, but you are correct that some kind of damage control does need to be done here because, well, you're going to have to accept that your neighbors may learn you do indeed watch corn, gasp. But it's important he not take his anger to fuel exaggerated claims of what he saw. Opie, it sucks. We weren't true friends, but we were good neighbors. We'd grab a beer and talk about sports and superficial news. I'm not from Texas or Catholic, so I knew to avoid religion and politics. The conversation you're suggesting isn't a horrible idea, but it sounds seriously awkward. Not looking forward to explaining to a grown man the degree to which I am a pervert. Really didn't expect to ever actually meet a man who would judge another man for watching corn. Commenter, that sucks. Next time don't give your Wi-Fi password to anybody, no matter what. You did him a favor, and now he's treating you like you did something wrong. Opie, yeah, like, for him to have seen what was on the drive, he would have had to have navigated to it and explored the drive clearly marked Mine Estrich. There was no way for him to have mistakenly navigated there. He would have had to snoop on a network that I hooked him up with so he'd have internet when his was down. Not the most obscure, but he would have had to do some clicking. And there were only like 15 videos, not like I had a massive collection on there. Anyway, password changed now. Update 1. Next day. Okay, so lots of good advice in the original post. Thanks. I need to stress that I didn't want my talk with him to be about me telling him I'm right and he's wrong, like a lot of posts suggested. I think that if you feel the need to be right, you aren't going to be a good neighbor. The approach I took was more, I need to understand why you feel the way you do. Just before lunch, I knocked on my neighbor's door and asked if I could speak with him. He wasn't happy to see me, but he agreed to come over to my house to chat. He didn't want to talk in front of his family. Fair enough. I asked him why he thought I was a Chomo. and I told him I wasn't and thought that the insinuation was really potentially hurtful and damaging to my reputation in the community. I reminded him that he had met my ex-girlfriend, and she was 5 years younger than me. And that's the biggest age gap I've ever had in a relationship. I didn't deny that I had corn, and I didn't tell him it was anyone else's, but I did tell him that all the corn on the drive was legal, and that I often watched it with my ex-girlfriend. I asked him why he thought it was Chomo stuff, or if he just thought any corn meant I was some sort of deviant. His first reaction was to tell me, I know what I saw. But when I pressed him on what it was he saw, he said, pictures of kids and videos of people having sex. I asked him if he had looked through the whole drive and saw context around the pictures, and he just got this disgusted look on his face. No, I didn't look through the whole drive. He claimed that he turned on a media server and it auto-detected the media because it was still on my network because the Wi-Fi password on the device was hard to change, and he hadn't changed it back for him when his cable modem broke. He said his kids only normally use the device for Netflix, so he had kind of forgotten about it once things were working again. His explanation seemed a little wordy, but I let him talk as long as he wanted. Anyway, it was super awkward at this point, so I offered to show him the drive again to add context. I kind of had to insist he at least look at the file structure. It was painful. Anyway, I showed him that the photos were for my past, and the only pictures of teenage girls were from my high school days or pictures of my sister. The pictures were all arranged in folders by year, like I said in the previous post. But he said he hadn't seen them this way before. What he saw was all of the files in a unified view, without the folder structure. And he only took a quick glance at the thumbnails when he went to watch a movie with his wife and kids. It was in front of his wife and kids. Repeat. Super awkward. I apologize that happened, and I am really sorry that his kids saw it. Not sure how much they would have seen given it was just thumbnails. I looked again. None of them had any graphic images in the thumbnails shown on my Mac, but who knows what was shown on his device, or what his kids saw. I didn't show him any of the corn, but by this point he was warming up again to the idea that the whole thing was just a huge mistake and misunderstanding. I offered to let him take the drive to the cops. I was that certain there wasn't Chomo on it. He said he believed me. He told me the reason he was so disgusted by corn was that it had ruined his sister's marriage, and he now had to support her. That his sister's husband would watch corn so much that he lost his job and became an alcoholic and ended up being abusive to his wife and kids, he didn't say, but I assumed physically abusive, not sexually. He told me corn set unrealistic expectations on relationships, and I would never be happy as long as I looked at it. Hey, there's some slight truth to that, for some people at least. He told me there was a support group at his church for corn addiction and asked me if I would be interested in going. I sheepishly told him I would check it out. That seemed to put his mind at ease. He said he was sorry he jumped to conclusions. Candidly, I don't know if I believe his story 100%. I know my TV only shows titles, not thumbnails. I've seen the Box C and WD Live interfaces. WD Live, I think, shows previews of the clips, but doesn't show images and videos in the same display view. Also, the router wasn't set up as a DLNA server, just a network share. So who knows? I still feel like he probably snooped, but it's possible his kids saw something through their media server. So of course I don't have any intention of going to a corn support group, but I did get the contact info from him for the guy who runs it. I might exchange a few emails, and then tell him the times don't work and see if he can suggest another group at another church to go to. Then just drop it. We'll see. TLDR, had a good talk with my neighbor. Things aren't 100% fixed, but at least he's not under the impression I'm looking to molest kids anymore. But I may have to go to church. Edit. Wanted to put a little more down about what he told me. His speech was basically, you won't be able to get married or experience true love if you are still looking to other women, even pictures of women, to get off. You can't have corn and a happy marriage. I don't agree 100%, but I do think the guy's heart is in the right place. As much as Reddit hates on religious people, it was kind of sweet to hear things like that said. And this whole thing has got me thinking more about the context of information. Not to get all political, but I am terrified more than ever about the NSA now. They see a snapshot, take it the wrong way, and poof, you're on your way to Guantanamo. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for calling the police on my sister? I 34F single mother of 3 girls, 13, 8, 2. Let my sister 31F move in with me 2 months ago, and she stole from me. I am shaking as I type this up. Let's call my sister Sarah. Sarah lost her job about 4 months, got kicked out of her apartment about 2 months ago, and didn't have anywhere to go. Being her big sister, I offered her a place to stay while she figured things out. Being a single mother with no one to turn to, sometimes I felt sorry for her. So I figured I could help her out in this rough patch. I even started helping with daycare fees for her son, who's 3, because I know how tough it can be to make ends meet. Things started out okay, but I started noticing small red flags. First, Sarah's boyfriend, who I'd only met 3 times, began coming over almost every day while I was at work. I didn't love it, but I thought they both needed support, so I let it slide. I did let Sarah know that I didn't want him coming to my house every day, and he stopped coming for a while. Then one day he just pops back up. It wasn't long before I noticed other strange things happening. At first I thought I was tripping, like little stuff would be moved in my bedroom or my bathroom would have stuff missing. At first I thought it was my daughters, but the stuff that was touched or missing they either don't use or have their own. So without telling anyone, I put a camera in my room. I saw Sarah going into my room when I was at work. I confronted her and told her, without letting her know about the camera in my room. I told her I knew she was going in my room, and if she does it again, she was out. She half-assed apologized and we moved on. Well, yesterday when I get home, I noticed my closet door slightly opened. I knew something was off because I never leave my closet door open. As I was looking through my closet, I noticed one of my handbags was missing. I had been saving up about $2,500 for Christmas gifts for my kids in the handbag. It wasn't in an obvious spot either. You would literally have to dig under about 7 other handbags to get to that one. My heart was in my ass because 1, my money is missing, and 2, that is the money for my kids' Christmas, and 3, my sister was nowhere to be found. I knew right then and there Sarah took it. I immediately called Sarah, but she wouldn't answer. I checked security cameras in my room and saw Sarah thieving ass in my room going through my closet. About 5 minutes later, her boyfriend, let's call him Ryan, came in my room too. They had to have picked the lock because I made sure my room was locked before I went to work this morning. They spent 45 minutes in my room going through all my stuff trying to put it back like it was. I was devastated. I let her move in with my rent-free and bill-free, and this is how she repays me? About 2 hours after I got home, Sarah and Ryan shows back up. I confronted her immediately. At first, she flat out lied and denied it, claiming I was mistaken or that I had misplaced the money. But I didn't back down. I told her I had the entire thing on camera, everything, including her and her boyfriend going through my things. She was caught red-handed. I told her she had until the end of the day to return the money, or I'd be pressing charges. She started freaking out, saying I was being unreasonable. I really wanted to put my hands on her, but I have too much to lose. She even tried to drag our dad and her mom into the situation, calling them to intervene on her behalf. But I wasn't having it. I told them both to stay out of it, that I was handling it my way, and they had no right to defend her when she was clearly in the wrong. And if they want to defend her, they can give me the $2,500 back. That shut them right on up. I also told they didn't have the right to say anything to me about this because they were willing to tell her and their grandchild sleep outside because they not ready to have a toddler around they right now. By 8 p.m., she still hadn't given me the money back, and I had no choice but to call the police. I filed a report and gave them the footage. By the time the police got there, Sarah and her Ryan had jumped in his car and left. They're both on the run now, and no one knows where they are. I'm sure she's trying to hide, but I have no idea if they'll even come back or if I'll get my money back. I'm still in shock. I've always tried to help her, and this is how she repays me. I can never trust her again, and right now, I don't even know if I want her in my life anymore. It's one thing to make mistakes, but to steal from family when I've been helping you, it feels like a betrayal on a whole new level. So here I am, dealing with the aftermath, and I'm wondering, should I have handled this differently? I really wanted to hurt her, and the only reason I didn't was because of my daughters. Even though they are not with me, I still don't want to miss up there in my future. I got a call from one of my cousins and she was telling me that she was on me side, but she also told me that my dad and his wife called her mom trying to talk junk about me and my auntie shut us down. She apparently told my dad that him and his wife created the Mr. My Sister is because they never said no and gave her any and everything she wanted. I love my aunt for sticking up for me. I'm just trying to process everything, and honestly, I'm struggling to figure out what comes next. So Reddit Ida for calling the police on my sister? Relevant comments. Commenter 1. NTA. Please, for your and your children's safety, change all the locks in your home immediately. Also, I would post an update to all family and extended family so that they don't shield these two. OP. Thank you. My best friend came by that night and changed my locks for me. Majority of my family knows now, and they said if they see them, they're going to call the police. Commenter 2. NTA. They will catch your sister and her BF sooner or later. Just please don't drop the charges when they do. Commenter 3. When people get kicked out of their previous living situation, that is almost always a reason not to invite them in, as your situation shows. Doesn't matter if it's a stranger or your twin sister. You, however, are very much NTA for calling the cops on them. Never let her anywhere near you again. Also, I don't like that she has a BF that can come waltzing into your house. You have kids. The BF is clearly no good either. Don't have people move into your house again that might let shady males in, especially when you have kids. Sorry this happened to you. Don't back down when it comes to the police. Good for you having it on camera. Update 1. Hey everyone. First off, I would like to thank everyone for the kind words and support. It really means a lot to me. So, again, thank you. To the people saying it is my fault, you can go to hell. That just shows me that you will steal from anyone at any time if given the opportunity. So, for the update, bear with me. I worked my overnight last night and barely got any rest today because of this situation. So when I got off work this morning, I really didn't feel like going upstairs to my room, so I laid on the couch. Around 10:30, I heard someone at my front door. When I opened the door, it was sister looking stupid. When I realized who it was, I punched her right in the face. She tried to run, but I grabbed her and pulled her inside of my house. She was alone. I asked her where was my nephew, and she tells me that he is with her childhood best friend. I will call her Alex. I didn't believe her, so I made her call Alex so I could see, and he was. Thank God he is with Alex because Alex is an angel. I asked my sister where my money was, and she said gone. I said I know that, but where did it go? This idiot looked me in my eyes and told me that she and Ryan spend the money DoorDash, going out to eat, and Mary Jane. I just stood there and looked at her. She didn't say anything, and I know she thought I was going to punch her again because every time I moved she would flinch. After what felt like hours of me staring at her, I called her a dumb bitch. I told her she needed to explain herself. What pisses me off is she wasn't even looking for the money. She was looking for my handgun. She told me that Ryan had convinced her to go to her old job and get revenge for firing her. I told her she was a dummy for going along with that play. I then asked her why did she get fired because she told us her job had to lay off people due to the drop in business. It is a small business and a local family-owned grocery store. Well, come to find out, her and 4 other employees decided that they didn't want the 15% employee discount they were getting and the $19.50 they were getting paid. They wanted free merchandise and free money for the registers. My jaw hit the floor. Her old employer told her if she paid back the money she took, he would press charges. I asked her how much she took, and it was about $690, but I think it was way more. Ryan didn't like the idea of her getting ripped off and came up with his plan. She knew I had a handgun. She didn't know that I take it with me everywhere I go because I have my concealed carry license. While she is taking to me, I'm recording the whole time. She then tells me the reason she got kicked out was because she told her landlord that if he didn't let Ryan stay with her and not be on the lease, she was going to get a bunch of people to bet him up. The landlord filed a police report and had her evicted 10 days after. But what really pissed me off is she told me the whole time she was on the run. She never once checked up on her son. She said Ryan doesn't want him around, so that is why she took him to Alex. At that point I snapped. Everything from her stealing from me to her abandoning her son just came out. I have never yelled and cursed at no one like that before. I really let her have it. She started crying, but I couldn't care less. She tried to talk, but I told her to shut the fudge up because I was done with her shit. I told her she was a piss-poor excuse for a human being and a mother. I told her that she should be ashamed of herself for what she did to me and how she is treating her son. I told her that I was going to help Alex get custody of her son because she didn't deserve him. She tried to talk, but I wasn't done. I also told her that she is going to jail and Ryan is too. She really started crying, but again I couldn't care less. I was yelling so loud I think the neighbors heard me and called the police, which I was going to do anyway. So, thank you to my neighbors. When I opened the door and seen it was the police, they asked me was everybody and everything okay because they could hear me from the street and my neighbors were concerned. I told them no and explained everything that was going on. Sarah was just sitting there like a deer in headlights and trying to play victim. She told the police that I gave her the money. I wanted to jump on her right then and there. I told the police that the previous officers had the footage of her and Ryan going through my stuff. One of the officers ran her name and seen she had a warrant for her arrest and put her in handcuffs. They took Sarah outside and was searching her. The police pulled some money out her pocket and she told them to give it to me. This stupid bitch wanted them to give me $24.76. Yes, I counted it. I told them to keep it because she is going to need it. The police asked her how did she get there, and Sarah said Ryan dropped her off. They asked her where was Ryan, and she said around the corner waiting on her. When one of the officers went to check, the dummy was still there sleeping. So he went to jail also. I called my dad and told him what was going on, and to my surprise, he must have had a change of heart. He told me after my aunt read him the riot act, he took everything in and realized we were right. He told me that she is going to have to pay for what she did. I also told him about my nephew, but he knew that he was with Alex and glad he was with her. I told him about helping Alex get custody of my nephew, and he told me to do what I had to do. The reason I want Alex to get custody is because she is great with my nephew. She loves him, and he loves her. He also is happier when he is with Alex. Even when she would visit Sarah, my nephew wouldn't leave Alex's side. She also, if anything ever happened to my sister, she would take my nephew with no problems. Sarah's mom is pissed at me because I will not drop the charges, and I gave the police the recording of her telling me the plan she really had because it added more charges. I told her if she was good mother and raised Sarah right, we would be going through this. She called me a bitch and hung up. I blocked her. She can deal with Sarah and pay for lawyers. I will make sure I'm at every court date for Sarah and Ryan if possible. I don't want neither one of them getting out anytime soon. Well, this is my update so far, and if anything else happens, I will let y'all know. Thank y'all again for the support and kind words. Relevant comments. Will OP's children have a Christmas? OP. My family, such as my mom, aunt, other siblings, and surprisingly my dad, has helped me out tremendously. I also picked up as many hours as I can before I get paid again. Commenter 1. NTA. I can't believe she thought she could get away with all that. OP did the right thing by calling the cops and getting her and Ryan out of his life. His nephew deserves better. Commenter 2. Yikes, what a roller coaster. Seriously, NTA. You've managed to juggle everything from family drama to police drama like a pro. It's wild that Sarah tried playing the victim after all that chaos. Good on you for sticking to your guns and protecting your nephew. Sending you all the support for those court dates. You're going to need a gallon of coffee and the patience of a saint.